By the summer of 2023, April Holt, a mother of two and positivity coach, had become a sensation on TikTok, amassing over 200,000 followers. Known for her quirky and optimistic personality, she had built an online presence centered around her blissful home life. Her posts weren't just about the good times, they were about overcoming adversity and manifesting your dreams. But as her message of growth and positivity echoed across the platform, little did anyone know that the summer would take an unexpected and tragic turn. In late July, April was found unresponsive in the bathroom of her home. She would tragically pass away just days later. While authorities were quick to label her death as a personal tragedy, one person refused to accept this as the whole truth. April's mother believed there was more to the story. This is the relentless journey of a mother's fight for justice. Welcome to Just Thought Lounge. I'm Kevin, and today's case takes us to the outskirts of Nashville, Tennessee, where a young mother, entrepreneur, and influencer met a questionable end. Let's dive in. April Holt celebrated her 29th birthday in early July 2023. Reflecting on all the milestones she'd reached in such a short time. An independent lash technician from Antioch, April had taken the leap to leave her day job and build her own business. "Happy 29th birthday to me," she posted, grateful for every year that had passed. 10,585 days, she reflected. "I am blessed to experience another year of life." But what she valued most wasn't the milestones or accomplishments, it was family. Above all, she adored her two children, 11-year-old Serenity and 7-year-old Denzel. She was the definition of a loving, hands-on mother, always eager to share her family's joy with the world through her TikTok. Her account wasn't just about the sunshine and rainbows, it was a platform for positivity, personal growth, and spiritual guidance. With over 200,000 followers, April used her platform to coach others on how to manifest the life they desired. Her messages were motivational, uplifting, and often filled with good energy. "I just pray and send good energy to anybody who's seeing this. I hope you have an amazing day," she would say. But beyond the uplifting, April could be goofy too, always willing to bring a smile to the face of her followers. However, not all of April's posts were light-hearted. Over time, she began to open up about deeper struggles, revealing the raw moments of her life that she rarely shared before. One of the most emotional was about her homeschooling experience as a child, an experience she described as isolating. Yet, she transformed that adversity into the strength that defined her. April's relationship with her husband, Donovan Holt, was another key part of her story. Through their online presence, they shared the evolution of their marriage, from friends who became lovers to spouses who weathered life's storms together. They had their ups and downs, including financial struggles, health battles, and even a period of separation. But through it all, they always came back to their foundation: friendship. As Donovan shared, "If we weren't friends first, it wouldn't have lasted." That's the base of the whole relationship. Their ability to joke, laugh, and stay connected through the tough times kept them strong. April described Donovan as her best friend, the one who could always make her laugh. "I married him," she said simply. Despite the rough patches they had faced, the bond they shared remained unshaken. But their journey was far from over. Little did they know, the greatest challenge of their lives was yet to come. April had always presented her story through a lens of optimism. Her and Donovan's journey framed as one of triumph over adversity. The narrative she told always ended with love, resilience, and success. Yet, not everyone feels comfortable sharing their personal struggles so openly. But for April, this was her way of inspiring others. On the morning of Friday, July 28th, April spoke briefly with her mother, Jamie. They had plans to catch the new Barbie movie together, but April couldn't make it that afternoon. Instead, they agreed to meet the following day at their church. Hours later, Jamie would receive a phone call that would haunt her forever. It was Donovan, sounding frantic on the other end of the line. He told her that April had been rushed to the hospital. Their young son, Denzel, had found his mother in the bathroom. April was in the shower, a plastic bag taped over her head. She wasn't breathing. "We were gonna go see the Barbie movie," Jamie recalled. "She said Donovan has to work, but I'll meet you at church tomorrow." Then the phone rang again. Donovan was upset, like in a panic. He said, "We found April. She wasn't breathing. She's in the ambulance on her way to the hospital." At the hospital, Jamie noticed something unsettling. Donovan's demeanor was strangely calm, far from the panic and distress one would expect from a husband whose wife was fighting for her life. He allowed Jamie to make all the medical decisions regarding April's treatment while they desperately tried to save her. In the midst of it all, Donovan remained distant, holding his head in his hands and rocking back and forth. But after 3 long days, on July 31st, April still hadn't regained consciousness. She was declared dead from her injuries. The autopsy report released in November would shock Jamie. The medical examiner concluded that the cause of death was suffocation. Yet the Metro Nashville police closed the case, deciding there was no foul play. It was a decision that felt wrong to Jamie. In one of her last videos, April had been open about her struggles. "Let's talk about how I'm gonna fake it till I make it," she said, applying lash extensions after a breakdown. "I plucked all of my lashes off, and I think I've done that on video. I'm just going through a lot, overwhelmed. I know I'm manifesting more negative experiences because of my mindset, so I need to get out of this funk. I'm going to fake it till I make it." But now her mother was facing something much worse than April's personal struggles. Investigators informed Jamie that the case would be closed. There was nothing more to investigate. Jamie refused to accept it. She walked out on the investigators, determined to find the truth for her daughter. After the investigation into April's death was closed, Jamie's resolve only grew stronger. "The DA and everyone agreed to close the case," she recalled. "I got up, marched out of that room, and I said, 'I'm not done. I'm gonna keep investigating.'" She knew, deep down, that April would never have left her children willingly. April had always been full of faith and resilience. Jamie believed with all her heart that someone had taken her daughter's life, and she knew exactly who that person was. Just 2 weeks before her death, April had filed for divorce, a decision that wasn't new. Their marriage had always been turbulent, and they had even separated years earlier. "Okay, so the story is that we're getting divorced because of our decision," Donovan had said back then. "She's my best friend. I still love her to death. We still got a child together. We're still gonna hang out. But at the end of the day, we've got separate paths now. Our paths are parallel, and we'll always be next to each other. Who's to say what'll happen in the future? But for now, it's the best decision for both of us." Their relationship seemed to follow a pattern of separation and reconciliation, a cycle that neither could fully break. In front of the camera, they showed their followers a picture-perfect image of love and forgiveness. But behind closed doors, things were far more complicated. After an extended separation, they decided to give their relationship another chance, touting their ability to communicate openly and grow together. Yet, April's TikTok posts rarely showed the darker side of their relationship. One thing was clear, though. The arguments were escalating. By July 2023, April was resolute. She wasn't going to back down this time. She told her mother that she was leaving Donovan for good. Donovan, too, seemed to be aware of the finality of it all. Just a week before April's tragic death, Jamie learned that Donovan had pawned his wedding ring. On the morning of July 28th, just hours before April was found unconscious, the couple had been in the middle of an argument. The exact details of their fight are unclear, but it was enough to unsettle their son, Denzel. Later, he told his grandmother about that fateful morning. She woke up, drank her coffee, journaled as usual, hugged and kissed Denzel, and then she and Donovan went into the bathroom, Jamie explained. My grandson put his ear to the door and heard them fighting, but he couldn't make out what they were saying. After a while, he ran to his room. Denzel would soon be called in to check on his mom. When he went to find her, 911 was called immediately. By the time they reached the hospital, it was clear April had no brain function and no blood flow to her brain. But there was something more, something Jamie wasn't told right away. A plastic bag had been taped over April's head. It was over 6 hours before the truth about the bag came to light, and during that time, Donovan had gone back to their apartment twice, though no one knew what he was doing there. On July 31st, 2023, Jamie's worst fear came true. Her daughter was pronounced dead, and now she wanted justice for April and for the grandchildren left behind. After the closure of April's case, Jamie refused to let it end there. She waged an all-out battle to apply public pressure, hoping to force the Nashville police and DA's office to reopen the investigation. Her first step was to seek exposure. Jamie reached out to local news stations, contacted area celebrities, and regularly posted updates on social media. But it wasn't easy. After the official closure of the case, gaining any traction in the media proved nearly impossible. I don't understand what I'm doing wrong, Jamie expressed. There hasn't been one news channel in Nashville that's picked up my daughter's story, not one. I've reached out to every channel, every celebrity, and no one is responding. Jamie didn't just campaign online, though. She pushed for the full case file and began researching on her own. By lodging a formal complaint with Nashville's Community Review Board, Jamie forced the police to launch a full review of April's case. Finally, 4 months later, the Metro Nashville Police Department reopened the investigation. When the second investigation concluded, they returned with a 47-page report. Unfortunately, the case was still categorized as an accidental death, with no changes in the official conclusion. But for Jamie, this report provided new, crucial details to scrutinize. Over the next several weeks, she combed through the documentation, piecing together the pieces of her daughter's case. During this time, Jamie also worked to provide a stable environment for her grandchildren. She took Serenity and Denzel to grief counseling, shared their nightmares, and spoke openly about her own sorrow. In fact, Jamie even published a book about her grieving process, titled Grieving Through Grace. She also began work on a children's book called Grieve With Me, with proceeds from both books going to raise awareness of the complexities of grief and healing. Alongside this, Jamie became an advocate for domestic violence. She shared her insights, emphasizing that abuse doesn't always look the way we expect. Many relationships are far more complex than they may appear, and she wanted to make sure that her daughter's story would highlight that truth. But in the months following April's death, Jamie also had to fight to keep the children together. After Donovan moved to Texas, he wanted to take Denzel with him, but Serenity wasn't willing to go. She said she just couldn't do it, Jamie recalled. Denzel was crying, saying, "Grammy, I'll do anything to stay with you. I never influenced him. I want him to have his own opinion and be happy, no matter where he is. I just want him to have a fulfilling childhood and be with his sister." As Jamie's relationship with Donovan grew more tense, she ceased her online posts about the case in April 2024, citing a gag order. Though her social media advocacy paused, her mission for justice never slowed. She continued to gather evidence, and what she found left her stunned. Initial reports had claimed that April showed no signs of trauma, but Jamie knew this wasn't true. At the hospital, there were visible bruises on April's neck, thighs, and ankles, along with a gash on her inner thigh. Most crucial of all, the bag taped over April's head had only one set of fingerprints on it. and they weren't hers. The prints matched Donovan's. In September 2024, Jamie confronted Donovan directly. "You can tell me the truth, or I'm going to meet with the cold case team next Thursday to reopen this," she warned him. To her surprise, Donovan confessed. "I already knew," Jamie said. "I've been doing this for a year, knowing what happened. I already knew." Armed with the confession, Jamie took it to the police, who reviewed April's autopsy once again. This time, the cause of death was officially changed to homicide. On September 20th, 2024, the Metro Nashville Police Department arrested Donovan Holt in San Antonio. He was charged with reckless homicide, evidence tampering, and false reporting. "He's been arrested for my daughter's homicide," Jamie shared. "They have him in handcuffs and are bringing him back to Tennessee." Donovan was held on a $75,000 bond and transported to Tennessee, where he was arraigned on October 23rd. According to investigators, Donovan admitted to strangling April in the heat of an argument, then dragging her into the shower, covering her head with the plastic bag, and taping it in place. Afterward, he made lunch for their son, Denzel, and asked him to check on his mother before calling 911. While Donovan awaits trial, April's children remain with Jamie. She reports that they are doing as well as can be expected, considering the circumstances. But one thing is clear: Jamie's fight for justice will never end. Some days are better than others for Jamie, but the fight is far from over. Through the darkest days of her grief, Jamie has found solace in the unwavering support of her community. She's expressed her heartfelt gratitude on social media, thanking the many people who've stood by her and her family during this harrowing journey. However, Jamie's mission to seek justice for April is not yet complete. She continues to push for accountability, and her latest campaign aims to have the charges against Donovan increased. "I'm trying to get the charges upgraded," Jamie explained. "There's no reason the charges are as low as they are. This should be first-degree murder, not just reckless homicide, and child endangerment should be added as well." For Jamie, this is about more than just justice. It's about ensuring that April's death is fully acknowledged and that the legal system does everything it can to hold those responsible to the highest standard. Jamie's resolve remains unshaken as she continues her relentless fight for the truth to be heard.